A pleasant day to everyone. We are the Group 3, and in this presentation, the topic that we will report or discuss is all about the preschooler. The content or coverage of this presentation include the definition of terms, growth and development, including the biological, psychosocial, cognitive, moral, spiritual, and social development, coping with concerns related to normal growth and development, promotion of health during the preschooler period, and prevention of injury. Hi, I am Jane Lumabas, and I am the first one who will report about the definition of terms. Let me define first what preschooler is. The preschooler is a period traditionally include the years 3, 4, and 5. Preschoolers are indeed fascinating creatures. Their physical growth slows considerably during this period, while the personality and cognitive growth continue at a rapid rate. According to Ferguson, Bowden, and Horwood, 2013, they need reassurance that this behavior is atypical because it is the way children explore and learn about new experiences. Therefore, there is also an important period of growth for parents because this may be unsure how much independence and responsibility of self-care they should allow their rapidly maturing child. Preschooler period was characterized by magical things or thinking, fantasy, and fears. They sometimes have problems separating from fantasy from reality. The vocabulary of about 900 words and uses it to ask questions constantly up to 400 a day. The word most frequently associated with the preschooler is the word why and how. There are kind of children who won't stop asking questions until they get their desired answer. The combined biologic, psychosocial, cognitive, spiritual, and cognitive achievement during this preschooler period, which is 3 to 5 years of age, prepare preschooler for their most significant change in lifestyle for the entrance into the school. Take note that children in this age exploring and learning go on continuously. Let me have a brief summary of personality, cognitive, and moral development theories for the ages 1 to 3 years old. The main focus for this is the psychosocial, according to Sigmund Freud, which means that the major conflict at this stage is a toilet training. The child has to learn the control of their bodily needs, including the controlling of their bladder and the bowel movement. For the psychosocial, according to Erik Erikson, the focus is autonomy and shame and versus shame and doubt. While the cognitive, according to Piaget, focus on this stage is the pre-operational thought, which is the preconceptual phase, the transductive reasoning. Example for this is specific to specific, and moreover, the moral judgment, according to Holbridge, which is the pre-conventional, the pre-moral level, and the punishment and obedience orientation. Lastly, for this age spiritual, according to James Fowler, the focus is the intuitive projective. On the other hand, the ages from 3 to 6 years old, the psychosocial, according to Freud, the focus is the phallic. During this stage, pleasure focuses on the genitals. At the child discover the self-stimulation is enjoyable. The psychosocial from Erikson is initiative and versus skill. Furthermore, the cognitive, according to Piaget, pre-operational thought, intuitive phase, transductive reasoning from ages 4 to 7. For the moral judgment by Colbridge is a pre-conventional, the pre-moral level, and the naive instrumental orientation. Lastly, the spiritual, according to Fowler, the focus of this age is the mythical literal. I include 5 important definitions of terms. Let me start with the broken fluency, which means the repetition and prolongation of sounds, syllables, and words. The child is not speaking fluently. Terms like stuttering, stammering, and clattering are often used. Next is the bruxism, which means the grinding the teeth at night, usually during sleep, is a habit of the many young children, according to Goddard, 2008. Third is the genu valgus, also known as the knock knees, a common condition in children. It is almost always a normal part of the child's development. This condition in which the upper leg angle inward and the knees touch while the ankles are spread apart like in the picture. Next, I also include the Electra complex, attachment of the preschooler girl to her father, or it is called the daddy's girl. And lastly, the counterpart of the Electra complex is the word Oedipus complex, which refers to the strong emotional attachment a preschooler boy demonstrate toward his mother or called as the mommy's boy or the mama's boy. That's it for the definition of terms. For the next reporter, I will now give the floor for Mr. Mark Ryan Panaligan.
So good day po, and I am Mark Ryan M. Panaligan, and I am here to discuss the biological talk. The biological or physical development seen in the preschool child includes a slow growth rate, changes in the dentition and visual development, as well as skeletal growth changes, especially in the feet and legs. As you can see in the picture, the growth is only 2 to 3.5 inches a year. The vocabulary increases markedly. The tonsils appeared enlarged. Pulse rate decreases to about 8.5 beats per minute. The body contour changes to be more childlike than baby-like. The genital valgus or knock knees may be evident, and increased coordination makes bicycle, riding, running, kicking possible. Then next slide po. 3 years old. Usually weight gain of 1.8 to 2.7 kilogram or 4 to 6 pounds. An average weight of 14.5 kilogram or 32 pounds. Usually gain in height of 7.5 centimeters or 3 inches, and an average height of 95 centimeters or 37.5 inches. May have achieved nighttime control of bowel and bladder, pronouns and prepositions appropriately, three-word sentences, plural words po. Then next slide po. 4-year-old pulse and respiration rates decreases slightly. Growth rate is similar to that of previous year. An average weight of 16.7 kilogram or 36.8 pounds. An average height of 103 centimeters or 40.5 inches. Maximum potential for the development of amblyopia. Then an understand size relationship. Follow a three-step command. Count 2, 4, then name 4 colors, then enjoy rhymes and wordplay. Then next slide po. 5 years old. Pulse and respiration rate decreases slightly. An average weight of 18.7 kilograms or 41.2 pounds. An average height of 110 centimeters or 43.5 inches. Eruption of permanent dentition may begin handedness is established. About 90% are right-handed. Shows early understanding of time concepts, then count to 10, then knows telephone number and respond to why question. Then next slide po. So let's proceed naman po sa gross and fine motor skills. Walking, running, climbing, and jumping are well established by the age of 36 months. Refinement in eye, hand, and muscle coordination is evident in several areas. Fine motor development is evident in child's increasingly skillful manipulations such as drawing and dressing. These skills provide read, readiness for learning and independence for entry into school. Then next slide po. Then let's proceed naman po sa psychosocial. Then the preschool is characteristic of rapid language development, imagination, sexual and social development, and a variety of types of play also characterize the preschool child's psychosocial development. And next slide po. Developing a sense of initiative in Erickson. Erickson maintained that the chief psychosocial task of this period is acquiring a sense of initiative. Children are in a stage of energetic learning. Conflict arises when they overstep the limit of their ability and inquiry and experience a sense of guilt for not having behaved appropriately. Feelings of guilt, anxiety, and fear may also result from thoughts that differ from expected behavior. Then that's all po. So next reporter po is si Ms. Magnayo po.
I am Jason Magnan. I am going to report the cognitive and spiritual growth and development. Cognitive development refers to reasoning, thinking, and understanding. Cognitive development is important for knowledge growth in preschool and kindergarten. Children are learning questioning, spatial relationships, problem solving, imitation, memory, number sense, classification, and symbolic play. Next slide. Piaget's cognitive theory does not include the period specifically for children who are 3 to 5 years old. The pre-operational phase covers the age span from 2 to 7 years and is divided into two stages, the pre-conceptual phase, age 2 to 4, and the the pace of intuitive thought age 4 to 7. During this second phase of development, children learn by asking questions such as how, come, and why. Children in this stage of intuitive thought tend to be so certain of their knowledge and understanding that they are unaware of how they gain this knowledge initially. Preschoolers are not yet aware of the property of conservation. So during preschool, amazing changes happen with children thinking skills. Their memories are becoming stronger, which means they often remember surprising details and they can share their ideas in new and interesting ways. And their imaginations are becoming a primary vehicle for play and learning, and they begin to compare, contrast, organize, analyze, and come up with more and more complex ways to solve problems, which helps their math and scientific reasoning become more sophisticated. The next reporter po is si Miss Lata.
I am Philatag and I will be discussing the social and moral development. In college stages of moral development, it is belong to the stage 1. The pre-conventional explains obedience and punishment orientation from about 2 to 4 years. Children of preschool age determine right from wrong based on their parents' rule. They have little understanding of the rationale for these rules or even whether the rules are consistent. During early childhood, children are also grow in their ability to tell the difference between moral rules, social norms, and personal choices. By around the age of 5, children see the moral rules are intended to prevent really wrong behavior that could potentially hurt or take away from others. Every day, the preschooler is surrounded by people and situations that will guide their normal development. Next slide po. The physical consequences of individual actions determine right or wrong. Punishment means action was wrong. From approximately 47 years of age, children are in the stage of naive instrumental orientation, in which actions are directed towards satisfying their needs and less frequently the needs of the others. Although the preschoolers are not making life-altering decisions, they do make small moral choices every day. Here are a few moral decisions that preschooler may face with. Do I share my toy with a friend even though I don't want to? Do I hit the person who won't play with me? And lastly, should I take my sister's toy from her because I want to play with it? While the child will violate the moral codes quite often, each time they step out of line is an opportunity to help them learn. The discipline strategies you employ combined with the proactive strategies you use to teach them right from wrong will guide the preschooler's moral development. The next reporter is Joyce Magnan.
Spiritual. Preschoolers begin to have an elemental concept of God if they have been provided some form of religious training. Belief in outside force aids in the development of conscience. However, preschoolers tend to do good out of the self-interest rather than because of strong spiritual motivation. Kohlberg, 1984. Next slide po. Through spiritual development, the child learns to be aware of and comfortable with qualities such as respect, responsibility, and reverence for self and others. Children at this age enjoy the security of religious holidays and religious rituals, such as prayer and grace before meals, and because these rituals offer them the same reassurance and security as a familiar nursery rhyme read over and over. Spiritual thoughts and feelings are integral part of emotional growth process for young children. It helps a child to act naturally with honesty, integrity, truthfulness, and to believe in something beyond the material universe and to develop an awareness of realities beyond confines of times and space. And spiritual development is when the children thoughts about God or other spiritual themes. The next reporter po is Miss Latan.
So the social preschoolers are outgoing, imaginative social beings. They play vigorously and in the process learn about the world in which they live. Next slide po. Preschoolers engage in a various type of play. Dramatic play allows a child to act out troubling situations and to control the solution to the problem. Cooperative play, children play in an organized group with each other as in team sports. The cooperative play, children play in an organized group with each other as in team sports. Next slide po. Associative play occurs when children play together and are engaged in a similar activity but without organizations, rules, or a leader, and each child does what she or he wishes. Solitary independent play means playing apart from others without making an effort to be part of the group or group activity. Unoccupied behavior. The child may be daydreaming or fingering clothing or a toy without apparent purpose. Next slide po. This is the table of a language development. Um, 3 to 4 years of age loves to talk, and 4 to 5 years of age is understand out of the context words. Next slide po. Lastly, the development of imagination. Preschoolers have learned to think about something without actually seeing it to visualize or imagine. The normal development, sometimes called magical thinking, makes it difficult for them to separate fantasy from reality. Preschoolers believe that the words or thoughts can make things real, and this belief can have either positive or negative results. In social developments, there are a big range of normal when it comes to preschoolers making friends. Making friends, some children seem to make friends easily and get energy from being around lots of other people. Other children might be slower to warm up and need time to watch what happens before joining in with the group. Making friends is an important part of your child's development at preschool. As your child plays with others, she builds skills that help her with friendships now and in the future. These skills are like sharing, taking turns, cooperating, listening to others, and managing disagreement. The next reporter is Miss Jamila Magkavas.
So, good day. I am Jamila Rose Magkawas together with Honey G. Lucero, and we will report coping with concern related to normal growth and development. So, first is preschool and kindergarten experience. A school or child care experience is helpful for preschooler because peer exposure appears to have a positive effect on the social development, according to Van Kahn and Johnson 2013. One of the issues that parents face is their children's readiness for preschool or kindergarten. The terms child care center and preschool are often used interchangeable, so parents cannot depend on the name of a school to define its structure. Traditionally, the main purpose of a child care center is to provide child care while parents work or otherwise occupied in preschool or daycare centers. Children are exposed to opportunities for learning group cooperation, adjusting to social cultural differences, and coping with frustration, distant, this disfa- dissatisfaction and anger. Next slide. Children in daycare centers have more illness than those not in daycare centers, especially gastrointestinal tract infection, respiratory tract infection, and hepatitis A, Varicella zoster virus, and cytomegalovirus infection, according to Nesty and Golbon 2007. Nurses play an important role in infection control. Daycare staff should also have updated routine immunization according to the adult immunization recommendation, including the annual influenza vaccine to protect the children in the center. Next slide. So we have so the next is common fear, and we have three types of common fear, which is fear of the dark, fear of mutilation, and fear of separation or abandonment. So the first is fear of the dark. Children awaken screaming because of nightmares. They may be reluctant to go to bed or to go back to sleep by themselves. If parents are prepared for this fear and understand it is a pace of growth, they are better able to cope with it. It is generally helpful if they monitor the stimuli their children are exposed to, especially around bedtime. So we all know children are afraid of the dark, mapa-toddler yan or preschooler. Then the practical ways to deal with your child's fear of the dark is we must establish a bedtime routine that your child finds relaxing and enjoyable. Then we must put a night light in your children's room. Then next slide. The next is fear of mutilation. Fear of mutilation is also significant during the preschool age, as revealed by the intense reaction of a preschooler to even a simple injury such as falling and scraping a knee or having a needle inserted for an immunization. Then the last is fear of separation or abandonment. Fear of separation continues to be a major concern for preschooler. For some children, it intensifies because their keen imagination allows them to believe they have been deserted when they are safe. So, fear of separation or abandonment. Separation is a common normal fear of being away from their parents. These fear are normal part of development and nothing to be concerned about. uh, if your child is suffering from this state, um there is a lot of things that you can help her. Then the uh one of this is if you are leaving your child in a new setting like childcare center, preschool, friend's house, or babysitter. Spend time at the new place and with your child before the separation, because your child will be less distressed if she spent in a safe familiar place with familiar people we trust. Next reporter is Honey G. Lucero.
So, hi, I'm Hannah Julicero. I'm going to report all about stress, aggression, and speech problem of the preschoolers. So, first is stress. Young children are especially vulnerable because of their limited capacity to cope. Expression of frustration, fear, and anxiety is hampered by inadequate expressive language. To help parents deal with stress in their child's life, they must be aware of its signs and be helped to identify the source. The best approach to dealing with stress is prevention, with the monitoring the amount of stress in child's life so levels do not exceed their coping abilities and informing them of anticipated changes on a short-term basis and education. Preschoolers' habit when they are stressed, they are like thumb sucking, hair twirling, or nose picking. A child who is stressed also may overreact to minor problems, have nightmares, becomes clingy, or have drastic changes in academic performances. Next is next slide. Next is aggression. The term aggression refers to behavior that attempts to hurt a person or destroy property. Aggression differs from anger, which is a temporary emotional state, but anger may be expressed through aggression. Hyperaggressive behavior is in preschooler is characterized by unprovoked physical attack on other children and adults, destruction of others' property, frequent intense tempered tantrums, extreme impulsivity, disrespect, and noncompliance. Modeling or imitating the behavior of significant others is a powerful influencing force in the preschoolers. They show less and less physical aggression, mostly because the parts of their brains that control aggression are better developed. However, because preschoolers are bigger and stronger, they are capable of more harm when they do get rough. Next slide po. Last is speech problems. The most critical period of speech development occurs between 2 and 4 years of age. The fluency in the speech pattern is common during language development in children 2 to 5 years of age. The National Institute of Deafness and Other Communication Disorder encouraged parents and caregivers of children who stutter to speak slowly and relax. Refrain from criticizing the child's speech. This is completing the child's sentences and take time to listen attentively. If your child does have a delay that might have need speech therapy, who can work with them on how to pronounce words and sounds. You can also work with your children on speech and language. You can talk with your children throughout the day. Next reporter po is Maureen Markop and Erwin Pisigan.
Next slide po. So I'm Ervin Janan Orpisigan, and for promoting nutritional health of a preschooler child, healthy nutrition during childhood should include eating a variety of foods and consuming sufficient energy to promote growth and development while avoiding the development of obesity according to AAP Committee on Nutrition 2009. The 2010 Dietary Guidelines for Americans or U.S. Department of Agriculture 2010 recommend an average intake of 1,400 to 1,600 calories per day for a moderately active child 48 years of age. A daily intake of 16 ounces per day of milk for preschoolers is recommended. This can be whole milk, 2% or 1% milk. Protein, protein requirements increase with age. Slide po. Next slide po.
The AAP Committee on Nutrition 2009 recommends the following guidelines for children older than 2 years of age. Saturated fatty acid consumption should be less than 10% of total caloric intake. Total fat over several days should be 20% to 30% of total caloric intake. Cholesterol consumption should be less than 300 milligrams per day. Fiber intake for children 3 years of age should be 19 milligrams per day and 25 milligrams per day for children 48 years of age. Next slide po. For feeding skills, 3 years old tries to mimic adult behavior at the table but often reverts to eating with the fingers, spilling liquids, and screaming. For 4 years old, more skilled with the use of utensils, although an occasional misjudgment of abilities results in a mess. For 5-year-old, uses utensils well, often can cut their own food, and can taught to practice sophisticated table manners. The next slide po. So for preschool nutrition requirements, it is as long as a child is eating foods from all the 5 group foods and meets the criteria for a healthy child that concerns with the height and weight. Another one is if parents gives vitamins, since a child will view vitamin as candy rather than medicine because of its attractive color and shapes. Next slide po. For promoting nutritional health with a vegetarian diet. A vegetarian diet is usually colorful and therefore appeals to preschoolers. Vegetables, fruits, and grains are also good and convenient snacks for a child. Vegetarian diets who are deficient usually lack in calcium, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. These vitamins are important, so check to see a child is ingesting a variety of calcium sources. So next would be Miss Maureen Marcuap.
So I am Maureen Marcuap and I am going to report the promoting development of a school-age child in daily activities and promoting school-age safety. So the preschooler has often mastered the basic skills needed for most self-care activities, including feeding, dressing, washing, and toothbrushing, all with the supervision of the parents. Next slide po. So first is the dressing. The preschooler may have definite ideas about what he or she wants to wear. Giving the child the opportunity to choose what to wear each day is an excellent way to begin fostering a sense of control and to help the child learn to make decisions. Many 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds can dress themselves except for difficult buttons, although there may be a conflict over what the child will wear. Preschoolers prefer bright colors or prints and so may select items that are appealing in color rather than matching. So according to Dr. Karen Aronian, a longtime school teacher, college professor, and the founder of Aronian Education Design, dressing up is an ideal way for young children to work on so many early childhood development skills like literacies, life skills, and creative play. So next slide po. Second is the sleep needs. Sleeps 11 to 13 hours at night, most often without a daytime nap. Many preschoolers who go through a typical negative phase resist taking naps no matter how tired they are. Support children's learning and physical growth by being responsive to children's sleep cues. Sleep is critical for learning and growth. If opportunities to sleep do not match a child's need, this will impact on his or her alertness, ability to learn, and the quality of social interactions. So third is the exercise. The preschool period is an active phase, so preschool play tends to be vigorous. Rough housing helps relieve tension and should be allowed as long as it does not become destructive. Promoting this type of active games and reducing television watching can be steps toward helping children develop motor skills as well as prevent childhood obesity. Along with academic achievement and physical milestones, exercise in early childhood plays a crucial role in the development of social and emotional skills. Children who exercise tend to have longer attention spans in class, greater confidence, better social skills, and fewer behavioral problems. Next slide po. So fourth is the hygiene. Preschoolers can wash and dry their hands adequately if the faucet is regulated for them. turn down the temperature of the water heater in their home to under 120 degrees Fahrenheit to help prevent scalds. Preschoolers do not clean their fingernails or ears well either, so these areas often need touching up by a parent or older sibling. Using a non-irritating shampoo and hanging a mobile over the tub so they have a reason to look up while their hair is rinsed. There are about 1 million ways your child can feel self-conscious during his school years, so it is important to maintain good personal hygiene for body image and social reasons. Poor hygiene can also cause health problems through the spread of infections, viruses, and diseases. So the fifth is the care of teeth. The preschool child needs to be supervised in toothbrushing. The parent should be responsible for flossing because the preschooler does not have the necessary motor skills. To help prevent tooth decay, the preschooler should be encouraged to eat healthy snacks such as fruits, raw vegetables, and natural cheeses, rather than the candy, cakes, or sugar-filled gum. The use of fluoridated water or fluoride supplement should be continued. Training children and motivating parents and caregivers to look after the oral health of children yields rich dividends in the form of reduced dental pain, better dental health, proper dental function, and less dental expense. Additionally, good oral health in children also boosts academic and social development. So next slide po. So for promoting preschooler safety, as preschoolers broaden their horizons, safety issues increase. By age 4, children may project an attitude of independence and the ability to take care of their own needs. Part of this is pseudo-independence. They still need supervision to be certain they do not injure themselves or other children while roughhousing and to ensure they do not stray too far from home. It refers to protecting children from or against any perceived or real danger or risk. It helps to reduce their vulnerability in harmful situations. It also means protecting children against social, psychological, and emotional insecurity and distress. So that would be all. Next report.
So lastly, for promoting healthy family functioning, for discipline and guidance, parents must guide a child through these struggles without discouraging the child's right to have an opinion. Timeout is a useful technique to correct a behavior repeated as many minutes long as the child is old. Then routine check-ups. Preschoolers with up-to-date immunization need boosters as it is required for entrance to kindergarten. And also, semi-annual dental examination is also recommended. Thank you. Next reporter would be Fatima.
Good day, I'm Fatima May M. Ilagan. I will be discussing the prevention of injury. Prevention of injury, important to prevent injuries in preschooler. Injury prevention is an effort to prevent or reduce the severity of bodily injuries caused by the external mechanism, such as accidents before they occur. Injuries are the leading cause of death and disability for young children. Young children are the higher risk of injuries overall, and certain injuries are more probable in different ages. Children are more likely to be injured when they are not under the appropriate adult supervision. So from the word prevent, it all comes naturally that we prepare or avoid something that may cause harm at a given situation. So as is being stated, children are more prone on having an injury that may grow or become serious if there is no appropriate assistance or guidance from their parents or peer adults. That is why it is very necessary for us to know, remember some of injury prevention that we will be going to discuss later. The next slide po. Here are some common examples of injury. We have the motor vehicles and bicycle safety. With more and more cars being equipped with the front seats airbags, make certain parents safely buckle preschoolers into car seats in the back seat. American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP 2009. Many preschoolers outgrow their first car seat during this period when they reach 40 pounds and need to graduate to a booster type seat. Head injuries are a major cause of death and injury to preschoolers, and bicycle accidents are among the major cause of such injuries. Next slide po. The cause of the motor vehicle and bicycle safety are leading cause of death among children, but many of deaths can be prevented. The prevention is First, remind the parent to check the position of the shoulder harness so does not go across a child's face or throat. Second, always properly buckle children aged 12 and under the back seat. The second is once children begin riding independently, however, they definitely need a safety helmet, approved per children their age and size. The last is encourage the parents who ride the bicycles to demonstrate safe riding habits by wearing helmet as well. Seeing a parent routinely wearing a helmet may well be the most compelling reason for a preschooler to wear one. Next slide po. The next is choking. It may cause the swallowing of the foreign object. The prevention for choking is first, choose toys appropriate to the age of children. Avoid toys with a detachable small part. Second, ensure small objects are kept out of reach of children. The third is foldable furniture should be properly placed and locked. Instruct children not to play with them. Lastly, instruct the children not to play while eating. Next slide po. The fall, the presence of object on floor, lack of supervision of curiosity of the children. The prevention is keep the floor free of toys and obstruction. Second, check the floor surface for wear and tear. Keep the floor dry. Never leave babies unattended on a raised surface. Lastly, take extra care to avoid side turning the chair. Next slide po.
So these are all references of our presentation. This is the names of the members. And that's all for our presentation of the Group 3. Thank you and God bless.